Hello. Welcome to this, the second in what may be a series of quizzes. I hope it is a series of quizzes for a wonderful charity, SOS, which is for orangutans. And I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but it's the last quiz was done by. Oh, I can now hear myself coming back to myself, which is very, very intriguing. I wondered what idiot was that talking, and it turns out it was me, the idiot talking. I am getting the YouTube 10-second delay. I've now reached the point in which I'm saying, oh, I can now hear myself. Hopefully my voice will then appear again. It's going to be quite an interesting thing. So this is the first technological hitch. So the last one was done by Bill Bailey. And Bill, who I was very lucky this week, in fact, it's just gone out. We did a show with Jane Goodall because it's the 60th anniversary of her first visit to Gombe, where she did her remarkable work observing chimpanzees and going against many of the scientific rules. And by breaking those scientific rules, she managed to discover revelatory things about chimpanzees. And because Bill did the last one of these, I should tell you one of the delights of doing a show with Bill Bailey and Jane Goodall was basically the fact that she gave Bill a lesson in how to speak chimpanzee. And so Bill said, I've always kind of gone like this. And she went, no, that's very colloquial and uncertain. So anyway, I'm now going to do the quiz. The quiz, come up with your names. Throughout the show, I will be saying hello to some of the most interesting and intriguing names. And also, I will give you the rules of the quiz. The rules are I'm basically going to read out each round. I will do each question once, or indeed, sometimes I'll just do it twice. I'll then go through each question. There's 10 questions per round. And then at the end of each round, I will go through all of those questions one more time, a few moments, and then give you the answers. So also remember, it is for a fantastic charity. I've had a lot for... Underneath the screen, you can see now, underneath these images, you will be able to see some of the charities that you can donate to, and some of the charities. There's one charity. What am I saying? Some of the charities. The thing is that because I'm still hearing myself from 10 seconds ago, I'm having a very intriguing time trying to appear sane. In real life, I deal with about 5 to 6 inner monologues anyway, but I've now got an extra inner monologue, which is my outer monologue. I can take these off, but it means I will hear nothing of what else is going on because this all comes through the mic. So let's find out what happens. Here we go. We're going to start with round one. If anything goes wrong, it's highly likely, but that's part of the joy. I've done so many different science shows, especially the ones where we deal with the biggest scientific ideas. On Friday, I'll record a show about the nature of time with one of the leading scientists who understands the physics of time, but he did not understand how to get his laptop microphone working. So that is the kind of thing that happens in this world very, very often. So let's start off with round one. Now, this round, all the answers involve names with food in them. So that's what you need to know when you're trying to think of the answer. If you come up with an answer and it doesn't have some form of food in it, then it's highly likely to be wrong. And I would not have got the first one, by the way. So this will see how you deal with it. Question one. What is the name of Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter? What is the name of Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter? And remember, there is food in every single one of these answers. Maybe a little. I'll give you a few seconds for each one of these. See what happens. Question two, and remember, I'm going to do all of these. So, question two, an American singer born in 1947 who has been performing from 1978 until the present day. And I was watching some footage of a concert he did not that long ago, and I believe if we went back in time, those songs would have been written without quite such a high register. An American singer born in 1947 who's been performing from 1978 until the present day. He also appears in a quite brilliant cult film. So there we go. There's another clue for you as well. One of the great, probably one of the top 5 most famous of the cult movies. Question 3. A comedian born in Birmingham in 1945 who released a novelty record called Funky Moped. This is very interesting because what we're discovering also from doing this is the average age of those who work in the office of SOS. So, a comedian born in Birmingham in 1945 released a novelty record called Funky Moped. Also used to do a lot of stuff about insurance claim forms as well. So there's my big clue for you there. Question 4. An American actor known for his role in Footloose. First film I remember him in was National Lampoon's Animal House. He may well have been something before then. Has a pretty good career, I would say, and is part of a kind of philosophical stroke mathematical concept. Question 5, and remember, I'll remind you again, these are all types of food in this answer. An actor known for his roles in Sharp and Lord of the Rings. Now, again, I think my first memory of him is an advert for Kestrel, the alcohol-free lager, in which a plane was dealing with issues. Many of the other people had been drinking alcoholic drinks, but because he'd had the unpleasant alcohol-free lager Kestrel, he was able to land a plane. Surprisingly, there were no legal ramifications for suggesting Kestrel can give you that kind of abilities. So that was an actor known for Golden Sharp and Lord of the Rings. Question 6. A Tory MP who served from 1983 to 1997. Tory MP who served from 1983 to 9. This is quite interesting because I wonder, have they checked in the office that no other Tory MPs with possible food-based names, such as Satoni bread? Did Satoni bread? We don't know. There's a risk involved in this one. Once did a radio show with her. Not overly keen. Mind you, it's not like appearing on the Jeremy Vine show with Carol Malone. There's a separate that I might accidentally turn litigious, so I'm not going to place SOS under that kind of pressure. So that was a Tory MP who served from 1983 to 1997. And remember, all of them have foods in their name. Question 7, US Secretary of State from 2005 to 2009. US Secretary of State from 2005 to 2009. Now, because the next one, his real name does not have a food in it. His real name is Robert Matthew Van Winkle. I don't even believe that's his real name. I think even his real name was changed from his real name. But anyway, he was born Robert Matthew Van Winkle, a US rapper and to perhaps a lesser extent actor. I think his acting was particularly well. I think he was in one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle films. So US rapper and actor born Robert Matthew Van Winkle. Question 9. A US actor known for her roles in Monsters Ball and X-Men. So, a US actor known for her roles in Monsters Ball and X-Men. She was also in, I think, in one of the James Bond films, but I can't remember which one because it's not really my thing. I like long, boring Russian films. I've reached that age, you know. US actor known for her roles in Monsters Ball and X-Men. And question 10, this is suddenly out. I looked at the answer of this and I went, I've never heard of her or him. And it turns out there's a reason. It's because it's actually a very strong smelling fruit that we're looking for. So this is actually a food in itself. And this is a very strong smelling fruit that's popular with humans and orangutans as well. So a very strong smelling fruit that's popular with humans and orangutans. Now, I'm going to run through all of those again, just in case you missed any of them. As I said again, all answers feature a type of food. So with the exception of the final question, all of them are the names of people and they have a food in their name. Number 1, Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter. Number 2, an American singer born in 1947 who has been performing from 1978 until the present day. Number 3, a comedian born in Birmingham in 1945 who released a novelty record called Funky Moped. 4, an American actor known for his role in Footloose. 5, an actor known by me predominantly for a mid-1980s Kestrel alcohol-free lager advert, to other people for appearing in Lord of the Rings and Sharp. 6, a Tory MP who served from 1983 to 1997. Question 7, the US Secretary of State from 2005 to 2009. Question 8, born Robert Matthew Van Winkle, a US rapper and actor. Question 9, US actor known for her roles in Monsters Ball and X-Men. And question 10, a very strong smelling fruit that's popular with humans and orangutans. So there we are. I'll give you, I'm looking towards Helen, who's in charge of all of this thing. Shall I give her, how long I'm going to give him? 1 minute? Do we tick? Right. Okay, then. We've got the Patons of Batons. We've got Team Armadillos. There's some fantastic different. I'll see what else we've got. This is, I like this one. There we go. Team Quentin Tarantino as well. So we'll keep me up to date with different quiz names as well. Team names. Right. I think now, if everyone's ready, I'm going to give you the answers to round 1. Please do, even though you may be doing this on your own, in your flat or home generally, please do whoop, cheer, yes, and at each different answer to get the full experience of being in a pub quiz. Please gloat, even if you're on your own, gloat at times. So, Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter is called Apple Martin. The American singer, born in 1947, who's been performing from 1978 until the present days, Meatloaf. And of course, I was mentioning there the Rocky Horror Picture Show as well. Comedian born in Birmingham in 1945 who released a novelty record called Funky Moped, Jasper Carrot. An American actor known for his role in Footloose, Kevin Bacon. An actor known for his roles in Sharp and Lord of the Rings, Sean Bean. A Tory MP who served from 1983 to 1997, Edwina Currie. The US Secretary of State from 2005-2009, Condoleezza Rice. A US rapper and actor who was born Robert Matthew Van Winkle, Vanilla Ice. A US actor known for her roles in Monsters Ball and X-Men, Halle Berry. And a strong smelling fruit that's popular with humans and orangutans. Helen, give me a nod or shake your head should I say this wrongly. Durian. Is it durian? Durian. So there we go. That is the strong smelling fruit. So a fruit that has the same name as a fruit, but it is actually the fruit itself. So it's a fruit with a. It's very intriguing. Anyway, so that is round one. If you want to send your scores in, please feel free. Oh, they want me to slow down. Okay, right, I will. I just get so distracted. That's the trouble, and I'm in my room as well. I've got my Kurt Vonnegut doll and everything just to keep me happy. So so I will. I promise. I'll do it a bit slower then. So round two is famous animals. So all of these are, some of them are animals that would still be known. Some of them, of course, it's a very rocky career being a famous animal. Some of them are less well known now, but at the time they were really, surfing the zeitgeist of fame in Hollywood or other places. So question one, what's the name of the dog in the film The Wizard of Oz? What is the name of the dog in the film Wizard of Oz? And that remains one of my favourite films of all time. In fact, I think I like it more now than I ever did. Margaret Hamilton, quite brilliant as the witch, and the dog, very good dog acting. Because the dog has one of the major scenes really. Without the dog, there's no revelation whatsoever. So you need a good dog. I'll just quickly tell you, by the way, so far Mike Findlay Wilson has 9 out of 10 woohoo. Erica Lear, hello Erica, has I will reply to that email, by the way, 9 out of 10. And Leah Earl, Team Egg, 9 out of 10 as well. So a very strong start from everyone. I did do a round which I thought was quite hard, but they've taken out the hardest questions, I reckon. So were really tough. So that was question one. What's the name of the dog in the film The Wizard of Oz? Question two, what's the name of Harry's owl in the Harry Potter series? And it's also a name of a musical, or the first part of the name of probably one of my favourite musicals of all time. It's no clue, unless you're me. If you're me, it's not even something that I share that often publicly. So if I was me, it would be a great clue, that, but most of you won't be me. Though I have been reading a lot of Philip K. Dick novels, and you just don't know sometimes. So what's the name of Harry's owl in the Harry Potter series? And it is a great musical as well. I have no idea on the next question. Question three. What's the name of the dog in the film Back to the Future? What's the name of the dog in the film Back to the Future? My favourite thing in Back to the Future is Crispin Glover, who is if you never seen Crispin Glover interviewed or heard any of his songs, I forget which record label they were on now. He's on the same record label as Nico for a while. There's a very good, weird little song called Clown. Where's a clown? He had a frown. Clowny clown, clown is part of the Clown song. It's quite disturbing, and it will affect your nightmares. It will cast your nightmares, in fact. But yeah, if you ever, it's probably, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Look up Crispin Glover's musical career, and I think you'll find it quite delightful. So that was what's the name of the dog in the film Back to the Future. Question four, another fantastic musical, and one that is one of the great Hollywood. I think it's Hollywood musical. Fantastic director Carol Reed. What's the name of Bill Sikes' dog in Oliver Twist? They tell me it was a book before it was a musical. So what's the name of Bill Sikes' dog in Oliver Twist? By the way, I am wearing, I don't know if you can see that there, hopefully you can, I am wearing an official, I'll be very careful there, turning over the quiz questions there, the official SOS t-shirt, which is available online. So if you If you're thinking, well, I do want to give something, but I want something in return, then get one of these t-shirts. And as I mentioned before as well, underneath here, if you get the chance, it's really worth joining as a charity as well. The orangutans are just such fascinating. I find, I've been lucky enough to work with some people who've kind of been in the field, and when you just see the intelligence, it's such a fascinating thing when you realise the proximity that we genetically have, and then when you also start to observe some of the kind of occasionally, also, well, not more than occasionally, cultural proximity. Fascinating. Question 5. What was Long John Silver's parrot called? I mean, I wouldn't have known actually. This is quite embarrassing. What was Long John Silver's parrot called? That was question 5. Long John Silver's parrot. Question 6. What was the name of the first dog to go into space? So the first dog in space. A friend of mine, Howard Reed, did a very nice song all about this dog, based around a Suzanne Vega hit. And look up Howard Reed's work. He does fantastic things. He does a wonderful double act with a cartoon boy that he created, Big Howard, Little Howard. It was on CBeebies a while ago, and he's still making a lot of fun things with his family at the moment during lockdown. I think I still thought it was lockdown. I don't really know what the government's position is, neither do they. So that was, what was the name of the first dog to go into space? What's surprising actually is I had not realised, because there's some stories obviously of animals going into space which end very sadly, but actually the vast majority, as far as I know, of dogs that have been sent to space did return alive and well. So I realise there are many thorny issues with that, but I just thought I'd tell you at least something happened. What was this question 7? What was Napoleon's horse called? That's a very good one. Are you sure, Helen? Can I just check? Are you sure he only had one horse? Again, this is another one where there's it's impressive. It's impressive if one horse kept him going all the way along. I suppose he was small and light as well. So I don't know. I don't know how that would help. But question 7: what was Napoleon's horse called? Question 8. And don't forget, I'm going to go through all of these questions again before we give you the answers. Question 8. What was the name of the first animal successfully cloned from an adult cell? And that name came from the cell that was used, where that cell was taken from. That was why they called it this. What was the name of the first animal successfully cloned from an adult cell? Question 8. What was the name of the first animal successfully cloned from an adult cell? Question 9. One of my favourites. Question 9. What was Tintin's pet dog called? Question 9. What was Tintin's pet dog called? And question 10 is, in the Beatrix Potter story, The Tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher, what kind of animal is Jeremy Fisher? In the Beatrix Potter story, The Tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher, what kind of animal is Jeremy Fisher? I find that one of the most boring films that was shown regularly on Christmas was the ballet based on Beatrix Potter. I'm sure many of you loved it. I'm sure it's a remarkable piece of work, but oh God, when that turned up. I mean, lovely work, great and everything, but it's just, and I'm not entirely anti-ballet. I saw a ballet at Sadler's Wells based on the life of Elvis Presley. It was the life of Elvis Presley, but for legal reasons, they had to turn it into one that was based on the life of Elvis Presley instead. So here we go. These are the questions again. By the way, very nicely there, team Robin Ince there. No relation. I'll go through more of the team names shortly. So this is round 2. Famous animals. Question 1. What was the name of the dog in the film The Wizard of Oz? Question 2. What's the name of Harry's owl in the Harry Potter series? Question 3. What's the name of the dog in the film Back to the Future? Another dog-based question. What's the name of Bill Sikes' dog in Oliver Twist? Question 5. What was Long John Silver's parrot called? Question 6. What was the name of the first dog to go to space? Question 7. I think question 7 is the hardest. I think it is, but if you know it, of course, it's not hard. But question 7. What was Napoleon's horse called? Question 8. What was the name of the first animal successfully cloned from an adult cell? Question 9. What was Tintin's pet dog called? And question 10. In the Beatrix Potter story, The Tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher, what kind of animal is Jeremy Fisher? Hello, Dordogne Dimwits. Hello, Blue Ninja Prawns. Hello, We Love Gingers. Whitstable Oysters. Hopefully, are you down in Whitstable? There we go. I was down in Whitstable. That's, I think, one of the last holidays I had was down in Whitstable. You have excellent. You had an excellent bookshop. I think your excellent bookshop, if you are down in Whitstable, is closing down. Sadly, but it's a lovely little independent bookshop. And Ian Forster would like to know what I am drinking, and it is it's from a brewery called Sirius. And I can't remember exactly, but today it's a kind of it's a pale ale. That's what I'm drinking at the moment. And the good thing is, if this does take a really long time and I have to have a few more, one of the things, the quiz gets a lot easier, because what I do is I lose concentration, and when I'm reading out the answers, because they actually have the answers at the bottom, rather when I'm reading out the questions, because the answers are at the bottom of the thing, I find myself reading out the question and the answer, which makes it a lot easier. So, in fact, I'll give you an example now, because I'm going to give you the answers to this round of famous animals. What I do after I've drunk too much is I ask you the question, what's the name of the dog in the film The Wizard of Oz, Toto? And then I've given it away to you. So there we go. That's what will happen later on. But that is the first answer that you needed there. It is Toto. There we go. Famous dog in Wizard of Oz. Harry's owl is Hedwig. And the musical I was talking about, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is just really, really remarkable piece of work. What's the name of the dog in the film Back to the Future? Einstein. What's the name of Bill Sikes' dog in Oliver Twist? Bullseye. What was Long John Silver's parrot called? Captain Flint. Very impressed if you got that. And what was the name of the first dog to go to space? Laika. So Laika was the first dog to go into space. Napoleon's horse. Did anyone get that? Do you know what Napoleon's horse was called? Napoleon's horse is called Marengo. But you get half a point for naming any other horses he might have had or didn't have. You know, any horses you've imagined. Still give yourself half a point. What was the name of the first animal successfully cloned from an adult cell? It was, of course, Dolly. What was Tintin's pet dog called? Snowy. And Jeremy Fisher, from the Tale of Jeremy Fisher, was a frog. Hello. Oh, someone. Yeah. Yes. Hello, Primatech. This is. Have I read all these books? The answer is no, I have not. There we go. That is just one of the selections of piles of books that I have. Because when I go on tour, I can't stop myself going to every single charity shop and every single secondhand bookshop, and so many towns have wonderful. One of my favourites in Eastbourne. I don't know if anyone who's in a team is from Eastbourne. It's a brilliant secondhand bookshop there called Camilla's, which is like this. It's like the stacks of book. That's what the shop looks like, but with a greater level of order. And I've got some. What have I got over here? This is let's see, recent purchases there. Highly recommend this. The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, which is suggesting that Christianity and the entire faith is actually based on hallucinating on magic mushrooms. Very, very good book, that. This I got for about equivalent of 50 pence in New Zealand. It is the film tie-in novel of The Phantom of Paradise. Lucky me. By the way, hello, Team Infinite Orangutan Cage. And that was it. We used to get complaints about the fact that our show was called Infinite Monkey Cage on Radio 4 because people thought we were celebrating vivisection. I would like to make it clear that that was never the intention of our name. Now, we've had some good results. Oh, hello, Team Sumatra of Surrey as well. Team Sumatra of Surrey in the Monkey House. Of course, Monkey House as well used a Welcome to the Monkey House. Kurt Vonnegut collection of short stories. Armadillo S, 9 out of 10. And it turns out the composing horse wasn't called Speedy Gavin. But that's if you're going to lose 1 point, I think you've got 10 out of 10. If your answer was Speedy Gavin, just give yourself an extra point. That's fine. Rebecca Thomas, 8 out of 10, which gives a total of 17 out of 20. Neil Peters. Hello, Neil. Nice to see you. I hope to see you at the West End Arts Centre again at some point. And Neil has got 10 out of 10. Very impressive, Neil. And it does not. I apologise to Neil Peters, by the way. If there was a round on Marillion, he would get more than 10 out of 10. Just in case. No, I once had a car journey with Neil. And we listened all the way back from the Latitude Music Festival to collection of B-sides by Marillion. I'm not as big a fan of Marillion as he is, but I learned a lot. Right, that's great. We've got, again, keep in any messages that you want as well. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're enjoying this. And as I said again, of course, you know, SOS, great charity. Look below the screen. You will see that you can support the charity. You can get hold of these T-shirts as well. If you look online as well, there's some lovely pictures that we did. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago for April, where in April a bunch of us all went off and had our faces garnished to appear to be orangutans, and Bill Oddie, who was way ahead already right from the start. He walked in already, you know, Bill's even closer, I think, genetically than the rest of us. Looked absolutely wonderful, beautiful orange face of Bill, and many others. I can't remember. Did Noel Fielding come in that day? I can't remember whether Noel was there. Well, Noel Fielding, you should do April at some point as well. I think it would fit jib. So round 3, famous people whose first and second names start with the same letter. So they have the same initial, first and second name. Question 1, an Italian explorer who lived from 1451 to 1506. So an Italian explorer who lived from 1451 to 1506. Possibly also committed genocide. That's just a little side there, just a light side to the history of that particular individual. So an Italian explorer who lived from 1451 to 1506. Question 2, a Liverpool and England striker who retired from playing football in 1984. Liverpool and England striker who retired from playing football in 1984. And remember, they have the same initial, their first name and their surname. Question 3 is Suffolk-born composer of the opera Death in Venice. So Suffolk-born composer of the opera Death in Venice. Oldborough, there's a festival for him there. Another of my clues, which don't help at all, one of his works was turned into a film by Derek Jarman. We don't talk about the work of Derek Jarman enough, so I'm trying to make up for that. So Suffolk-born composer of the opera Death in Venice. Question 4. I'm not going to give you long for this one, I know, because I think that this one. Lead vocalist of Black Sabbath. Come on. You know that one. You're fine on that, Neil, I would imagine. Lead vocalist of Black Sabbath. Question 5. A French fashion designer and businesswoman born in 1883. So a French fashion designer and businesswoman born in 1883. I think question 7 is the hardest, by the way. If you're waiting to find out, for those of you who've been getting a good, strong 9 out of 10, and you feel that this is going to be the round you get 10 out of 10, I reckon question 7 is what's going to drag you back down again. You'll find out in a minute. So that was a French fashion designer and businesswoman born in 1883. Now, question 6, English comic actor who rose to fame during the era of silent film. English comic actor who rose to fame during the era of silent film. My mum, as a Christmas present when I was 22, bought me a cream jumper with his face knitted into it. I wore it once on Christmas Day. Just wasn't really my thing. I'd probably wear it now. My mate Michael Legg would wear it, actually. He would, I think, put a dash in a cream jumper with this particular person's face knitted into the centre of it. Right, question 7, and many of you might think I'm a fool because you think, well, we all know that, so we are going to get 10 out of 10. But this is a South African golfer nicknamed Big Easy. So a South African golfer nicknamed Big Easy. I'm going to give you longer on that than the Black Sabbath question. Question 8. An American magazine publisher who died in 2017. An American magazine publisher who died in 2017. However, for the quiz, I've forgotten to do my ITV continuity announcer 1978 in the Anglia region. So there we are. Using for the rest of this round my Anglia 1978 ITV Lynx voice. Don't hear so much Peter Marshall anymore, do you? He used to present Miss East Anglia. Every now and again, you wonder if progress has occurred, and then you realise they don't show Miss East Anglia anymore. It probably doesn't exist. Every now and again, we have moved on. Though I do miss the World Disco Dancing Championships. They really were an absolute treat. Question 9. An English actor born in 1985 and known for her roles in films such as Atonement and Pride and Prejudice. An English actor born in 1985 and known for her roles in films such as Atonement and Pride and Prejudice. And also in the David Cronenberg film, Dangerous. Is it Dangerous Practice? Dangerous? I've forgotten now, but it's about Freud and Jung, and one of the less seen David Cronenberg films. So an English actor born in 1985, known for her roles in films such as Atonement and Pride and Prejudice. And question 10, an American singer-songwriter and producer who was born Brian Hugh Warner. So American singer, songwriter and producer born Brian Hugh Warner. By the way, thank you very much everyone who's been donating. We're already up to £850. Hopefully, we're going to keep going up and up and up on this. I realise that obviously, as I said, this is these are strange times. This is a great charity, and if you are, it would be nice to kind of get somewhere near halfway through the quiz and find that we've reached £1,000. But thank you very much for everyone who has donated already, and thank you everyone who is thinking about donating. So as I said, and do, even if you don't get a chance to tonight, make sure you sign up to get newsletters and you find out what's going on, and then hopefully if tonight is not the night you're going to donate, you will find out there are so many great stories and important stories about the work that is going on and the battle that is going on with such a wonderful and fascinating, and as I said, such a close relation. And the more that you watch the behavior, the more you just see so many of those links, so many, and many of them the delightful links, and the wonderful, the eyes, the expression in the eyes as well. Very similar to what my dad's eyes look like when he first wakes up for some reason. He has, before he puts his glasses on, there's I think a rogue orangutan gene that we weren't expecting in the family. And I think I carry it too, possibly. Steve Muse says, can you do a round as Brian Blessed? I will do a round as Brian Blessed. One of my few voices. I can do the Brian Blessed voice. If you're ready, I'm going to do the answers. Helen, are you happy for me to do the answers this round? Here we go. This is round 3. So we'll start off actually by knowing some of these as haven't done John Peel for quite a while. And this is someone that I gave a session to in about, I think it was 1483. And it was, of course, Christopher Columbus there. So that was Christopher Columbus. There we go. I should have probably saved it actually, because of course he was a huge Liverpool fan, and say question 2, I'd be very disappointed if people hadn't worked out the Liverpool and England striker was of course Kevin Keegan. So there we are, Kevin Keegan. And another thing, when it comes to question 3 is due to the length of his work, very often I haven't played any Benjamin Britten, because of course you can fit about 7 or 8 Bogshed songs in that time. So question 3, the answer was Benjamin Britten. Question 4, the lead vocalist of Black Sabbath is, of course, Ozzy Osbourne. Question 5, the French fashion designer and businesswoman born in 1883, Coco Chanel. Question 6, English comic actor who rose to fame during the era of silent film, Charlie Chaplin. Question 7, did you get it? Did you know it was, I presume it's pronounced Edgerton, Ernie Edgerton? There, he was the famous South African golfer nicknamed Big Easy. Question 8, the American magazine publisher died in 2017, Hugh Hefner. And question 9, an English actor born in 1985, known for her roles in Atonement and Pride and Prejudice, Keira Knightley. And question 10, the American singer, songwriter and producer who was born Brian Hugh Warner, Marilyn Manson. So there we are. Tot up your scores so far. The science round, Carl Sagan, Rhesus macaque, wonderful and curious creature, the Rhesus macaque. So, it doesn't matter. I promised I'd do it at least once, and so I have. Helen takes this very seriously. Very, very seriously. They're marking themselves. You have a huge amount of trust. Huge amount of trust. Right, how are we doing? Anyone got their scores? Alison Whitney, oh, it was a tough round. Alison, 6 out of 10. Armadillo West, I think, did get, it looks like, just got Ernie Els. There we go. NGF 16, 5 out of 10. We'll keep you up to date as we go along, finding out your scores. The next one is a general round on primates. If you were listening, I've given you a clue. Right, we will move on, and I'll keep you up to date with those scores. But let's see. So this is primates. Some of these questions I'll be interested. What was the one they dropped? I wonder that. I think you've made the Planet of the Apes one much easier, much easier. It's less orangutan based as well. So the question, this is not question one, this is question 0. What is the name of the orangutan doctor in the original Planet of the Apes? There's no points for this. It doesn't matter. But if you remember, well done. Now, here we are. Here are the actual questions for round 4 primates. Which primate gives its name to a blood group? Which primate gives its name to a blood group? If you want to pop up your answers, if any of you did get that question 0, I'd be interested to know if any of you know the answers to. So if you pop them under the chat, I'd be interested to know how many people knew that. I forgot the name of the actor, actually. I watched it again the other day. That is a film that actually does hold up, I think. Another question that didn't make it through, just while we're waiting for me to do the next question. I did another. Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston appeared in a film, another of his dystopian movies, because the dystopian movies are Planet of the Apes, Soylent Green, and the Omega Man. What story is the Omega Man based on? It's not a question in the round. It's just if you know it, pop it up underneath here. And there's the prize of knowledge, the prize of your own personal knowledge. There. So that was question 1. The actual question 1 was which primate gives its name to a blood group? Question 2, which fictional primate? I mean, I work in science, so there always has to be a sense of doubt. So as far as we know, this primate remains fictional. Which probably fictional primate, what Brian Cox, I suppose, would probably want me to do, lived on Skull Island. Which fictional primate lived on Skull Island? Question 3, multiple choice question. This one. Jane Goodall, I mentioned before, 60th anniversary, I think on about the 14th or it might be the 16th of July of her first visit to Gombe, where she did the incredible groundbreaking work. And now, of course, she does groundbreaking kind of in terms of charity and in terms of getting people involved in understanding what's going on with environmentally, ecologically, etc., with her brilliant organisations. A remarkable primate research included the revolutionary idea of naming chimpanzees as she studied them, which scientists were very much against. And she was right to do so because she discovered so much about their personalities. The fact they do actually have a personality. But her first key subject, what was their name? Was it Adam Bluebeard, Donald Blackbeard, David Greybeard? So was it Adam Bluebeard, Donald Blackbeard or David Greybeard? Oh, good. Yeah, very good. We've got Boring Dad, Dr. Zayas, Joseph Bartram, Dr. Zayas, Pat Harkin, Dr. Zayas, Neil Peters, Dr. Zayas, Erica Lear, Zayas. Yep. So there we go. And Boring Dad, by the way, is on 29 out of 30 so far. So that is anyone else is anywhere near 29 out of 30, please tell us. So that was Jane Goodall's remarkable primate research, included the revolutionary idea of actually naming the chimpanzees, and as she observed their personalities. And one of the first key subjects was it Adam Bluebeard, Donald Blackbeard, or David Greybeard? Adam Bluebeard, Donald Blackbeard, or David Greybeard? Question 4. Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, which starred Christophe Lambert, Ralph Richardson, and Andy McDowell. But Andy McDowell's voice does not appear in it. Who voiced Andy McDowell's Jane in the film Greystoke? Was it A, Meryl Streep, B, Glenn Close, C, Mary Steenburgen? So A, Meryl Streep, B, Glenn Close, C, Mary Steenburgen. So that is about who voiced Andy McDowell's performance in Greystoke. Question 5. On a primates round, of course, there was no way that I could avoid the funky gibbon and the goodies, the wonderful goodies. And I was lucky enough to do an event back at the end of January with Bill Graham and the lovely, lovely Tim. And we had a wonderful time talking about so many other things. And so I thought I had to put in a goodies question. And their biggest chart hit was the funky gibbon, reached number 4. But they had one other top 10 hit. They had a few other songs that charted, but their one other top 10 hit was it Father Christmas Do Not Touch Me, Black Pudding Bertha, or the Easter Bunny's Out to Get You. So it has had one other top 10 hit. Was it Father Christmas Do Not Touch Me, Black Pudding Bertha, the Easter Bunny's Out to Get You? Question 6, and remember I'll go through all of these again before I give you the answers. Ronald Reagan, who at the time we thought was utterly preposterous to be US president, and yet now, oh my God. Yeah, if you've not seen the film Idiocracy, which I think was Mike Judge, watch it and you'll find out not only was it prescient, it was tremendously optimistic in the time it imagined that you would get a president like Donald Trump. So do watch Idiocracy. But Ronald Reagan starred in a movie about a psychologist trying to teach a chimpanzee human morality. What was it called? Was it Banjo Goes to College, The Professor Who Went Bananas, Bedtime for Bonzo? So Banjo Goes to College, The Professor Who Went Bananas, or Bedtime for Bonzo? A lot of people can get the next question right, because if they knew Zayas, may well know this one as well. The Roddy McDowall question, obviously. Question 7. What was the name of Roddy McDowall's character in the film The Planet of the Apes? I think he was in. This is another question, because I think the kind of people who are doing this quiz, definitely some of you will know the answer to this, and I can't remember. There was one Planet of the Apes film that he wasn't in of the original series. and I think it was Beneath the Planet of the Apes. So if any of you know that, just say that, as just tell me. I'd be interested to know. I think it was Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. The next one, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes TV series. My ex-agent actually directed the arena-based Planet of the Apes show that toured in the 1970s in the UK, long before Michael McIntyre was. We had a bunch of horses and people in latex ape masks. A live version, arena-based version of Planet of the Apes, and my ex-agent, not because we fell out, just he stopped being an agent. Mike, he directed that. Question 8. In 2009, the autobiography of Cheetah from the Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan movies was published. What was it called? So it was the autobiography of Cheetah, who actually, I think, certainly one of the oldest chimpanzees in captivity, and possibly, in terms of on record, one of the longest, if not the longest, life recorded of a chimpanzee. Outlived Johnny Weissmuller and the rest of the cast, pretty much. So 2009, autobiography of Cheetah from Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan movies was published. What was its title? My mic is dropping out a little bit, apparently. So I will go through all those questions again. Let's just double check. Is my mic, if anyone else is noticing that my mic is dropping out, I'm going to talk now, la 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 la. And if you're still noticing a dropout, then are we okay? Okay. If there's any issues, yeah, just type underneath, and we'll. As I said, I'm going to go through all the questions again as well. It might not be my mic that's dropping out. It might just be me. I might be having a very busy day. There's just bits of me that are not. The wonderful singer-songwriter Robin Hitchcock has that trick where sometimes when he does a gig, towards the end of the gig, he literally does the fade out groove. He just fades and fades and fades, and then his voice vanishes. And it's a very beautiful thing. If you don't know the work of Robin Hitchcock, go and find out more about him. He also popped up in Jonathan Demme movies, which is an intriguing thing. Plays a kind of silent, malicious, possible assassin in the remake of The Manchurian Candidate. Question 9. Arctic monkeys took the indie scene by storm. I love the way this is titled. The Arctic monkeys took the indie scene by storm in 2005 with the now classic I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. But what's the first line of the song? So, the Arctic monkeys took the pop world and the indie world by storm in 2005 with the now classic I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. But what's the first line of the song? And question 10. Now, the reason I'm doing that quite quickly is normally you have to sing your way to get to the line, but it's the first line, so you don't have to spend that long doing that. Comedian and director Chris Addison won the Sony Gold Award for his comedy radio series about human evolution. What was it called? So, comedian and director Chris Addison won the Sony Gold Award for his comedy radio series about human evolution. What was it called? Great title, very funny show, probably still available to listen to, and very much worth it as well. Fantastic sporting cast. So while you're mulling that over, I will also go through the first previous 9 questions. Question 1 was, which primate gives its name to a blood group? Question 2 was, which fictional primate lived on Skull Island? Question 3, Jane Goodall's remarkable primate research included naming the chimpanzees that she was working with. Her first key subject was, which name? Adam Bluebeard, or Donald Blackbeard, or David Greybeard? Greystoke, Legend of Tarzan, that movie, Andie MacDowell was one of the stars, but her voice did not appear in it. She was dubbed. Who dubbed Andie MacDowell in Greystoke? Was it A, Meryl Streep, B, Glenn Close, C, Mary Steenburgen? Right, so I need to lean in now. I'm moving too far away from the mic. Let's see. So, question 5. Goody's biggest hit was the Funky Gibbon, but they had one other top 10 hit. Was it Father Christmas, Do Not Touch Me, Black Pudding Bertha, The Easter Bunny's Out to Get Ya? Question 6. Ronald Reagan played in a movie about us. He played a psychologist trying to teach a chimpanzee human morality. What was the movie called? Banjo Goes to College, The Professor Who Went Bananas, Bedtime for Bonzo. Question 7. What was the name of Roddy McDowall's character in the film The Planet of the Apes? Question 8. In the 2009 autobiography of Cheetah, that's the cheetah who was in Johnny Weissmuller's Tarzan movies, what was the title of Cheetah's autobiography? Question 9. The Arctic Monkeys took the indie scene by storm with the now classic I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. What is the first line of the song? And question 10. Comedian and director Chris Addison won the Sony Gold Award for his comedy radio series about human evolution. What was it called? Now I'm looking. Oh, there it is. Good. I'm just looking around for where the extension lead is. If I disappear at any moment, it's because my battery has gone down remarkably quickly. So, yeah, if I disappear, it's not your fault. It's mine. I'm watching it now. So, are you ready? Let's see. Here are the primate answers. Hope you're working it. So, number 1, the primates gives its name to a blood group, Rhesus macaque. The fictional primate living on Skull Island, King Kong. Jane Goodall's the first kind of key subject she called David Greybeard. Greystoke, Andy McDowell was dubbed by Glenn Close. That was, I think, shortly before Glenn Close was famous in terms of the film world. But she was the voice. If you watch Greystoke again, you find out she is the voice of Jane. The Goodies' biggest chart hit, Funky Gibbon. The second biggest hit was Father Christmas, Do Not Touch Me. Black Pudding Bertha was a hit, but it was not in the top 10. And the Easter Bunny's Out to Get You does not exist, as far as I know. Ronald Reagan the movie he starred in was Bedtime for Bonzo. Roddy McDowall's character was Cornelius. Cheetah's autobiography was called very simply Me Cheetah. And the first line of I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor was Stop Making the Eyes at Me. And Chris Addison, the series that he did, very, very funny series, co-written with his friend Carl Cooper, The Ape That Got Lucky. So we'll give you a moment or two to mark those. And shall I get, I'm thinking, well, I don't know, I quite like the level of suspense and jeopardy of me looking at the extension lead, knowing where the adapter is, looking at, I'll give it another round. It's interesting. It's added a bit of, I can see the adrenaline in Helen's face now, because you can't see Helen, but I can see Helen's now like, I don't know if he's made the right decision, to be quite honest, but we'll find out. Right, how are the scores going? Let's see how well you're doing. I'll do some of the next round as Brian bless you, whoever asked that. That always, then my neighbours find that particularly weird, because I'm just in a terraced house, and the fact that every now and again, when we do Infinite Monkey Cage or something else, I very occasionally burst into Brian Blessed. It does seem to affect the neighbour's dog Eddie. Does get very confused by Brian Blessed slowly working his way through the plaster and the bricks. Next round, if you want to do a quick bit of revision before we start the round, the next round is colours. So just start thinking about all the colours you know, and that should help you. Right, Erica Lear got 7 and has a total of 32.5. Oh, I'm trying to work out what you didn't get. Let's see. Wonder what people found the hardest question. What the in that primates round, was there anything you just no idea whatsoever? And also, a reminder again, obviously, do look down, and if you get a chance, if you are able to donate, that is fantastic. Really would be great to make it to 1,000 soon. We're very, very close now. Caitlin Finch, is it Caitlin or Caitlin? I apologise. Some people would say Caitlin, so Caitlin Kinch, 5 out of 10. That's for the finite orangutan cage, and that is 33 out of 40. So that was the toughest round so far, then, I presume, for you. Actually thinking of that, yeah. That's another of my favourite ones, just seeing books that I've got piled up there. That is Our Mysterious Spaceship Moon, a book that's utterly ridiculous about the idea that the moon is in fact a spaceship, but not so ridiculous to appear in a lecture by David Icke. So that is, let's move on to colours. If you're ready for the colours round, I will keep telling you the scores, etc., as they come in. So round 5, colours. What's the name of a room where actors, producers, and critics meet? What is the name of a room where actors, producers, and critics meet? What's the colour of the studs making the left-hand edge of a motorway in the UK? You bloody idiots! What's the colour of the bloody studs marking the left-hand edge of the motorway in the UK? There we are. Still one of my favourite moments of all time in Infinite Monkage was Brian Blessed appearing just to slowly slip into sleep, but he was not at all. Out of nowhere, just as Neil deGrasse Tyson was trying to explain the Large Hadron Collider, he just suddenly looked up and went, "I'm the best bloody actor in the world!" Lovely thing to watch. Question 3. What's the name of a Stephen King novel featuring a pet mouse called Mr. Jingles? What's the name of a Stephen King novel featuring a pet mouse called Mr. Jingles? Got more. Rachel Caston's got 18 out of 40. Kieran Sweetman, 35 out of 40. Lucy Harris, 31 out of 40. I think of all of the results we've had so far. Oh, Team Orangutans are not the only fruit. Are on 34. They call it a woeful 34, but as far as I can see, the only person ahead of you at the moment is Kieran Sweetman at 35 out of 40. So question 3 was, what's the name of a Stephen King novel featuring a pet mouse called Mr. Jingles? Question 4, is it Kiedis, Anthony Kiedis? I don't know. Anyway, the lead singer, he's the lead singer of which band? Anthony Kiedis. Is it Kiedis? I think it is. Right, we are now at, we are merely £73 and 72 pence away from the £1,000. So if you have the chance to do that, and by the way, Helen, I will not be doing no more arithmetic after this. We've reached the point beyond arithmetic. But yes, so there we go. Just £73, 72 pence away from hitting £1,000. Thank you very much, everyone who's donating. It's really great. Question 5. Who defeated his father at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690. And remember, this is all about colours. So, who defeated his father at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690? 14% battery. We're fine, Helen. We're going to make it all the way through. Question 6. What's the name of the murder victim in the game Cluedo? So, question 6. What is the name of the murder victim in the game Cluedo? Oh, Neil Peters is he currently is in the lead unless we hear any from anyone else. So we have a 34 out of 40. We have a 35 out of 40, and Neil has 36 out of 40. So that was what's the name of the murder victim in the game Cluedo. Question 7. What colour is the live wire in a UK plug? Don't take the back of a plug now. This is not the time. What colour is the live wire in a UK plug? Question. Colour is the live wire in a UK plug? Question 8. In which Bond film did Christopher Lee play Scaramanga? In which Bond film did Christopher Lee play Scaramanga? Might I say that? I'm old-fashioned, Trev and ordinaire. I'd like to fresh Manhattan with white Anglo-Saxon everywhere. A black Russian is no pink lady, give her the Singapore sling. If Moscow Mule is not your baby, then highball your eyeball and name your sting. That's Christopher Lee in the film Return of Captain Invincible. Which is a song that's written by Richard O'Brien, who I mentioned earlier when we were talking about Meatloaf as well. It's one of my favourite things. My other favourite things when Mark Gatiss told me about the first time he met Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee said nothing whatsoever to him until he left. And as he left, he went up to him and went, "Mark, never invite a photographer into your home. It is an invitation for burglary." 9. What are the 5 colours of the Olympic rings? What are the 5 colours of the Olympic rings? I'll give you a bit of time on that one. Oh, we've got a question 5. There's an error in question 5. There's and then it's all downhill all the way from here, because as they went through the rounds, they were getting more drunk in the office as well. So now we've found the first error. The round 6 and round 7 are going to be absolute pigs here. It's question 5. It was actually who defeated his father-in-law at the Battle of Boyne in 1690. Who defeated his father-in-law at the Battle of Boyne in 1690? So I think what we know is the person who's picked up on that has definitely got that question right by the fact they've also sent that in. So there we are. So that was question 5. It was actually, rather than his father, it was his father-in-law. You've got to be careful with these kind of answers. If you get a question like this wrong about the Battle of Boyne, there will be a march with drums. They love that kind of thing. Now get the sashes on. They'll start marching through the streets again. Question 10. So the previous one was the colours of the Olympic rings. What are the 5 colours? Question 10. What 2 colours feature on the flag of Indonesia? What 2 colours feature on the flag of Indonesia? Helen, just feel free to take a break to find my charging cable. No, Helen, no. I think I'm going to make it too easy for everyone if I do that. So I'm going to run through those questions again, and then just because I know Alan's getting up, I'm going to go find my charging cable. So what's the name of a room where actors, producers and critics meet? That's question 1. Question 2, what's the colour of the studs marking the left-hand edge of a motorway in the UK? Question 3, what's the name of a Stephen King novel featuring a pet mouse called Mr. Jingles? Question 4, Anthony Kiedis is the lead singer of which band? Question 5, who defeated his father-in-law at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690? Question 6. What's the name of the murder victim in the game Cluedo? Question 7. What colour is the live wire in a UK plug? Question 8. In which Bond film did Christopher Lee play Scaramanga? Question 9. What are the 5 colours of the Olympic rings? Question 10. What 2 colours feature on the flag of Indonesia? All right, Helen, I'll do it. It's fine. There we are. We're fine. So everything's fine. Yeah, back up to 13% already. It's great. So that round was, where have I put it? Now because of that though, I've lost the round. Oh, there we are. So colours. That was the round. Question 1. It's a green room. It's a green room where actors, producers, and directors used to meet. What colour are the studs marking the left-hand edge of a motorway in the UK? They are red. The Stephen King novel with Mr. Jingles the mouse in is Green Mile, or The Green Mile. Anthony Kiedis is the lead singer of which band? The Red Hot Chili Peppers. The person who defeated his father-in-law at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690 was William of Orange. The name of the murder victim in Cluedo is Dr. Black. The live wire in a UK plug is brown. Christopher Lee played Scaramanga in The Man with the Golden Gun. The 5 colours of the Olympic rings are blue, red, yellow, black, and green. And the 2 colours on the flag of Indonesia are red and white. Team Tapinuli from Spain is asking if I have any fish to show you. I apologise. Apparently, well, not only does Bill have a fish pond, to be honest, he does have an advantage. He's got a zoo. He has his own incredible zoo. So I'm afraid I have the best I can show you is a series of balancing weights that you can use to. I haven't got a table to demonstrate them, but I've got some balancing weights here. I've got the Kurt Vonnegut doll. Got Jesus and Mary, if that's any help. I don't know. I've got those. These are just all things that happen to be hanging around. In literally my. There's a skull for you. That's got a brain inside it. If that's any use, I'll keep looking for stuff. This is I've showed this a while ago. So that's my my first teddy bear. There, my only teddy bear. So that's Snubby, 52 years old now. Right, so let's see what we've got. We've got Armadillo S, 10 out of 10. Super crunchy, 43 out of 50. Lorraine Flux got 10 out of 10. Whoop whoop. Mark Yoda got 3 out of 10. Rachel Kestin got 5 with Team Banana Rama. Amy Shearing 10 out of 10. Erica Lear got 8 out of 10 on that one. And now on 40 and a half. And wants me to sing more as Mr. Midnight, which is from the wonderful Return of Captain Invincible. And I can't see. I'm going to try and scan up. There's a few people I think who's so sorry about the fish. I didn't know that was part of the thing. If Helen had told me in advance. I think I mentioned Brenna Lattimore got 8. Neil Peters 10 out of 10. Mike Fuller got 4. Samantha Hall 10 out of 10 on that round with 42 out of 50 so far, and that's for Grandchildren of the Apes. Not part of the series. Still, I do love those Planet of the Apes movies that have been made in the last few years. Dandy Circus. Boring Dad, 45 out of 50. I think that brings us up to date with everyone so far. Whitspel Oysters, 8 out of 10. Rebecca Thomas, Counting Crows, 10 out of 10. 36 out of 50 overall. So quite a strong round from everyone there. And we're now going to move into the penultimate round, which is money. And so as I said before, do find out. I'm sure many of you already may well have direct debits and may have involvement with SOS, but go and find out a lot of the work they do after this as well. I'm not quite sure where we are in terms of, I'm not sure if we've hit the 1,000 yet. I very much hope that we have. So we will, before the end, hopefully hit that and maybe even go above it as well. So this is round 6. This is money. Who was Shakespeare's moneylender, and in which play did he feature? Brilliantly played, of course, by Vincent Price in the Theatre of Blood film, in which Vincent Price removes the heart of the actor Harry Andrews, and it ends with a rather wonderful. He plays King Lear on a roof, a burning roof. Oh, you are men of stone, if I had your eyes and ears. So that is who was Shakespeare's moneylender, and in which play did he feature? Question 2. Who was recently announced as the UK's richest person? Who was recently announced as the UK's richest person? So rich, I believe that they are thinking of moving the site of some of the places where they manufacture things so that they can probably make more money. So that was who was recently announced the UK's richest person. Question 3. Which of Jesus's 12 apostles was a tax collector? Which of Jesus's 12 apostles was a tax collector? So what fish did Bill show them? That's what I'd like to know. What kind of fish he got? If any of you remember the fish, tell me. I'd like to know more. He does wonderful work with his basically looking after it's not really a zoo as such. It's as I'm sure he probably told, it's taking in animals that very often shouldn't have been exported, imported, and looking after them. And they are a proper official. They can do papers on the stuff and all manner of things. Good man. I was never mind the Buzzcocks with him once. It's one of the only things I've ever done on television where I wasn't utterly awful. I think I was only a bit awful on that. Question 4. When did the UK National Lottery start? Was it 1992, 1993, or 1994? So when did the UK Lottery start? 1992, 1993, or 1994? Koi carp, apparently. That's what I've been told. Koi carp. That Bill has. Question 5. Who said it costs a lot of money to look this cheap? Mae West, Marilyn Monroe, or Dolly Parton? Also said rather wonderfully, this person, I don't mind being called a dumb blonde because I know I'm not dumb and I know I'm not blonde. So that's another line from that particular person. Was it Mae West, Marilyn Monroe, or Dolly Parton? Question 6. What denomination was the UK's first polymer banknote? So the first polymer banknote. What denomination was it? Question 6. That was what denomination was the UK's first polymer banknote? Question 7. What currency is used in Indonesia? What currency is used in Indonesia? Hello, Lisa Broughton, by the way, saying hello. And put that post today, actually, so you should get that. Very interesting chapter on crafts. You'll enjoy that. What currency is used in Indonesia? Question. Actually, I'll give you a minute on that because you might be arguing about that at home. Question 8. What does the acronym PEP stand for? What does the acronym PEP stand for? I presume, Helen, this is kind of the reason you put money around here is that's meant to make people think about, yeah, maybe we should give some money to the charity. That's very good. I did that when I did the Free Fringe years ago. It's a lovely thing that happens at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. You do a show for free and then people just put money in a bucket. And I spoke to a friend of mine who gave me some very good, he's a psychologist. He said, if you got anything about Charles Darwin, do that near the end. And so right at the end, before the collection, I would start talking about Charles Darwin. So, now, if that wonderful beard and that face. In fact, he's on the English £10 note. If any of you've got an English £10 note, take out your pocket now, have a look at it. You'll see that lovely picture of Charles Darwin. And of course, that meant they all had £10 notes out, and then they pop them in the bucket. So well done. Thank you, Richard Wiseman, the psychologist, for giving me advice, which helped the take I took in my bucket during the Free Fringe went considerably up. Right, we are now £20.47 away from £1,000. £20.47 away. Question 9. Question 9. I'm going to give you a clue. This is actually about a term that, should we receive this amount of money, it will be very, very useful at this particular time. What sum of money is denoted, sorry, rather, I said donated. I hope you realise that. What sum of money is donated by the slang term a pony? Denoted by the slang term a pony. What sum of money is denoted by the slang term a pony? If any of you feel that you've got a pony at the moment that you fancy donating, please do. Question 10. How many cents are there in an American dime? How many cents are there in an American dime? I'm going to go through all of those questions again. Question 1. Who was Shakespeare's moneylender, and in which play did he appear? Which play does he feature in? Question 2. Who was recently announced as the UK's richest person? Question 3. Which of Jesus' 12 apostles was a tax collector? Question 4. When did the UK National Lottery start? Was it 1992, 93, or 94? Who said it costs a lot of money to look this cheap? Mae West, Marilyn Monroe, or Dolly Parton? Mae West, Marilyn Monroe, or Dolly Parton? Question 6. What denomination was the UK's first polymer banknote? Question 7. What currency is used in Indonesia? Question 8. What does the acronym PEP stand for? We are now 47 pence away from some pounds. If you feel that you have 47 pence that you could just have that, go for it now. Now is the time. To be honest, I know I shouldn't say this, but I would be highly impressed if someone just donates exactly that. I would much rather they donated a pony, obviously, but anyway, so 47 pence away. Question 9, what sum of money is denoted by the slang term a pony? And question 10, how many cents are there in an American dime? That is the penultimate round. And round 7 is all about orangutans. So, as I mentioned before, if you can join SOS, if you're not a member already, please do. Have a look. As I said, go have a look over. There's so many fun things and interesting things and enlightening things. If you go and have a look at their website, and if you go and see about the work they've done and some of the kind of just some of the ridiculous things, like I said before, involving Bill Oddie and various others, well worth it. So here we go then. Do I give the answers yet, or do we wait till we've had that 47 pence? I mean, to be quite honest, I just feel we can't get that 47 pence now. To hell with the 7th round. I finished my beer and everything. I'm just not sure. I'll give you the answers anyway. So, who was Shakespeare's moneylender? I gave it away. Who was Shakespeare's moneylender and which play did he feature? Shylock, the Merchant of Venice. UK's richest person is James Dyson. Jesus' 12 apostle, the one with the tax collector, was Matthew. £1,037 and 53 pence. Thank you very much. Goes to good things. When did the UK National Lottery start? It was 1994. It costs a lot of money to look this cheap, was said by Dolly Parton. Recently stayed in the Dolly Parton room in Bournemouth when I stayed in a hotel called the Celebrity Hotel, in which each room is named after a different. It's an odd hotel. It's an interesting hotel. What denomination was the UK's first polymer banknote? It was the £5 note. What currency is used in Indonesia? It's the Indonesian. Now I'm not sure. Rupiah. I think rupiah. What does the acronym PEP stand for? Personal Equity Plan. What sum of money is donated by the slang term a pony? £25. And there are 10 cents in the American dime. So we'll have a brief break and then we're back with the final round about orangutans. Only great ape in Southeast Asia, amongst other things. You should know about them. The only red ape as well. That's interesting. The only red ape there. The very intelligent as well. As far as I know, they're more intelligent than a gorilla. That is what I've been told. Gorillas are not as smart as you might at first think. I mean, they're smart though. Still smart. A beautiful story. I can't remember which. I don't think it's in a book by Jane Goodall. It might be. Might be in one of her lectures where she talked about a man who at a zoo. I forget which zoo it was. There was a drowning gorilla, and he leapt in and saved it. And everyone was like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!" And when they said to him, "Because it's very, very dangerous, why did you do it?" He said, "Because I looked into his eyes, saw his eyes, and how could I not?" Right, the score's coming in. The final round is the hardest, by the way, because it's very orangutan specific. So, Caitlin Kinch, 6 out of 10, which means 46.5 out of 60 for finite orangutan cage. Oh, Mark Yoda got Oh, am I Batak? The Mrs. A. Smith, 48 out of 60. Boring Dad, 52 out of 60. Broadheath, massive score so far, 52 out of 60. Let's see. Oh, Amy works with gorillas, and she says yes, they are. It's interesting because you imagine for some reason that I don't know, maybe it's just in the look or whatever. But as I said, yeah, gorillas. There's some brilliant. Uh, my mate Andrea, who works a lot in Ghana, but also has done lots of different work with primates and has some very good stories about. Still, one of my favourite stories was the male gorilla, the silverback they got from Paynton Zoo, and we were in a pub once talking about how it was going, and she said it is a problem. He does seem, even by standards of other ones we've dealt with, it's very very hard to judge the mood of our new silverback. And I said, is that the most difficult thing? She said, no, it's not the most difficult thing. The biggest problem we've got so far is every time we go to clean out his bedding, we find new nuts and bolts. And we have no idea where they're coming from. So basically, they imagine that he was just going around slowly taking down the enclosure. Who have I not said so far? Siobhan Randall, 42 out of 60. Show us your J's on 45 out of 50. So that's a good way of doing it. They've just entirely ignored one of the rounds. They've got 45 out of 50, which puts them in the lead. Very interesting. This is something we may well see during the US presidential election, during the counting system, I think. We've also got Mike Fuller, 29 so far. Sarah, they got 4 out of 10 on this one for Team Grendon. And Neil Peters is 54 out of 60. I don't know if we've got anyone higher than 54 out of 60. So let's see. Yeah, I think that's everyone. Let me just check. I think I've done everyone's there. Right, final round, orangutans. This is an educational round. See how well you do, though. Let's start off with question 1. What do wild orangutans do to treat skin conditions which are causing inflammation or pain? So what do wild orangutans do to treat skin conditions causing inflammation or pain? The next question, by the way, is going to be very simple. If anyone has seen my t-shirts, it will help. Question 2 is roughly how much DNA do humans and orangutans share? So roughly how much DNA do humans and orangutans share? Question 3, orangutans are known to have cultures that differ between populations. Is that true or false? Orangutans are known to have cultures that differ between populations. True or false? What's the species name of the type of orangutan which hit headlines in 2017? So there were some headlines in 2017 involving a particular orangutan which hit headlines in 2017. Where are orangutans found in the wild? There's been various answers to questions that have kind of alluded in some way geographically to where we're talking about, but where are orangutans found in the wild? Question 6. Orangutans are vegetarians. True or false? Are they vegetarians? True or false? Orangutans' arms are noticeably very long, but how long is the average adult male's arm span? Is it A, 2 meters, B, 1 meter, C, 3 meters? So the arm span of the average adult male, A, 2 meters, B, 1 meter, C, 3 meters. Question 8. The word orangutan comes from the Malay words orang and hutan. But what does this translate as? They're coming from the words orang and hutan, but what does that translate as? Question 9. Orangutans sleep in nests. Is that true or false? Orangutans sleep in nests. True or false? And question 10. What is the average lifespan of an orangutan in the wild? What is the average lifespan of an orangutan in the wild? Is it A, 10 to 20 years, B, 20 to 30 years, C, 40 to 50 years? So A, 10 to 20 years, B, 20 to 30 years, C, 40 to 50 years. Shall rattle through those again. 1, what do wild orangutans do to treat skin conditions that are causing inflammation or pain? 2, roughly how much DNA do humans and orangutans share? 3, orangutans are known to have cultures that differ between populations. True or false? 4, what's the species name of the type of orangutan which hit headlines in 2017? 5, where are orangutans found in the wild? 6, orangutans are vegetarians. True or false? 7, orangutans' arms are noticeably very long, but how long is the average adult male's arm span? A, 2 meters, B, 1 meter, C, 3 meters. 8, the word orangutan comes from the Malay words orang and hutan, but what does this translate as? 9, orangutans sleep in nests. True or false? 10, what is the average lifespan of an orangutan in the wild? A, 10 to 20 years, B, 20 to 30 years, C, 40 to 50 years. So that's the final round. Thank you very much, everyone who has been joining in tonight. Thank you, everyone who's been able to donate as well. That's been fantastic. And Jess Gallagher and Alison Bristow particularly enjoying this round. Right. What do we reckon? Shall we do the answers, Helen? Here we go. So this is so first of all, treating the skin condition, they chew up leaves, or have been observed to chew up leaves and create a foam. So they make kind of foam from spittle and chewed up leaves, and they rub that into their skin. The DNA, as we know, is 96.4%. And it's quite interesting that's why they are at risk. In fact, when we did the show the other day about chimpanzees, we're talking to Kat Hobater, who's very interesting, works out in Uganda, and Jane as well. Jane Goodall was for a species, for the orangutan, a lot of the illnesses, ailments that we get, we can pass on. And certainly sometimes things which we can shift quite easily can be quite troublesome for orangutans. And that's one of the reasons in terms of apparently so far there's been no case of coronavirus transmission to wild orangutans, but we don't know for sure, and I know they're being very, very careful in lots of different primatologists working with different species are checking all the time, and at the moment the distance is being kept. Orangutans are known to have cultures that differ between populations. That is true. And again, this is a fascinating thing, as we've seen from those people, a lot of the people at the forefront, a lot of people took enormous risks in the way that they went to observe and didn't always follow what the official rules, supposedly, of what science was meant to be, were able to see the fact that again, many of the higher primates, seeing an incredible variety of personality differences and behavioral differences. What's the species name of the type of orangutan which hit headlines in 2017? Tapanuli orangutan, Pongo tapanuliensis, approximately, and that is found only in Batang Toru forests of North Sumatra. Population of fewer than 800 individuals, and it is the most endangered great ape species in the world. So that is one of the reasons to support SOS. They're leading the way in this, and this is it's a terrible thing when we see so often destruction of habitat, etc., and your donations are helping to make sure that we do not see extinction. Where are orangutans found in the wild? Borneo and Sumatra. Few talking about, just I've got the stats here. Actually, they're now only found on 2 islands. They used to be found throughout Southeast Asia and South China. Their population has shrunk from around 230,000 a century ago, now somewhere between 70 and 100,000 Bornean orangutans, 13,800 Sumatran orangutans, and as we mentioned just in the previous thing as well, fewer than 800 Tapanuli orangutans. Orangutans are vegetarians, true or false? It's false. Orangutans, they do primarily eat fruit, but they will every now and again tuck into a loris as well, that kind of thing. There is still, in fact, one of the most startling things in terms of, I'll make them sound a lot better than chimpanzees, because one of the most horrific observations of Jane Goodall when she was working in Gombe with those chimpanzees was seeing outbreaks amongst certain chimpanzees of quite violent cannibalism. So, I mean, I don't want to be biased, but what I'm saying is if you're giving to a chimpanzee charity, maybe cancel that direct debit and put it to SOS instead. Maybe that's the best thing to do. Maybe you're pro cannibalism. I don't know. Maybe just have both direct debits. Question 7, the arms noticeably very, very long. It's approximately, for a male, it is 2.2 meters. So it's around double the length of their legs very often. In fact, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It's around 1.5 times longer than their legs. The word orangutan comes from Malay words orang and hutan, and that is person of the forest. So that was question 8. The answer is basically the name means person of the forest. Do they sleep in nests? Question 9. It's true. They do sleep in nests, and in wet weather they sometimes pop a roof on as well. Again, one of those astounding things as we see so many different ideas amongst some of the great apes, the creativity, the tool use, all of these different things. And the average lifespan is 40 to 50 years. So thank you very much. I'm going to find out your marks now. Please send them in. Final time, please do try and support SOS in the future if you can join up if you are able to at the moment. I know obviously it's not easy times for some people, and it may well be impossible for you, but if it is possible for you and it sounds like the kind of thing that would interest you, and I think it is very, very interesting work, then do join up now. £1,100 raised, and they're very happy. So thank you very much, everyone. Thanks everyone just for taking part. As I mentioned already, we know not everyone can contribute, but I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned some things as well. The big answers are 2.2 meters in toto. There we are. If you want, by the way, an interesting Toto thing, my friend Michael Legg recently, this is not Toto the dog, which was the answer earlier, but the band Toto. If you really want to see an amazing version of Africa, there is a version that's done by the former lead singer of Toto, which is one of the most excitingly bizarre live renditions I've ever seen of a high charting song. So after this, just look up Toto's Africa live version, about 2017. Probably Neil Peters has seen it already. Helen Quigley, orangutans are not the only fruit. Final score 58 out of 70. Thank you very much, Helen. Hope you're doing all right. Mark Yoda finally knew something. A strong round from Mark Yoda. That was 8 out of 10. Caitlin or Catlin, I apologise for constantly changing that. Kinch, 7 out of 10, total of 53.5 out of 70, and says thank you very much to Team SOS Orangutan. Rachel Kestin got 34 out of 70. Let me just scan up a little bit further just in case I've missed some others. I was sorry for this. Lorraine Flux, I mentioned already, 46 out of 70. Amy Shearing, it just keeps disappearing, keeps moving. This is let's see, Blue Ninja Prawns got 51 out of 70. Mike Fuller got 9 out of 10 for that round. Mike Finley Wilson got a total of 58 out of 70. Steve Muse 41.5. Erica Lear 55.5. Siobhan Randall got 8 on that round and a total of 50 out of 70. I think I've mentioned Rachel Keston, who's one of the Bananarama girls, that got 7 on that round. Amy Shearing, I've mentioned that already, I think 50 out of 70. Mark Yoder, I've done. Helen Quigley, I've done. Mrs. A. Smith, 57 out of 70. Alison Whitney, 46 out of 70. Timi Newley from Spain, 10 out of 10. So 80 out of 70 all told. And we've got Funex 9. If Finex 48, but that means something to someone, but it does not. It's very late for me now. 48.5 somehow. Mark Dealey got 10 out of 10 on that round. That was good vibes. Lucy Harris mentioned already, and thank you very much for joining us, Lucy. Karen Sweetman, 58 out of 70. Boring Dad, 7 out of 10. 59 out of 60. From that's going back a while, so 59 out of 70. I presume that 59 out of 70 is what I'm imagining there. Sarah and Nick X, 8 out of 10 for Team Grendon. Neil Peters, 63 out of 70 in the end. Neil, if you come top, by the way, I'll give you another free Judge Dredd book. Dominic Goings, 50 out of 70, and I think that is it. Oh, Jan and Bill Parker, they finished on a high 9 out of 10. It's very lovely to see how many of you really know what you're talking about, because I imagine quite a few of you may well actually work with the charity as well. So it's good that you know what you're talking about. So thank you very much. Thank you to the Dordogne dimwits who proved themselves not to be dimwits at all. I'll say again, go and find out as much as you can. I hope everyone is doing fine. I hope everyone is remaining careful. If you can, remain as careful as possible at this time. There is still misinformation and disinformation, and sometimes a lack of leadership. And I've been talking to a lot of people who are dealing with the rest of this situation at the moment. And all I can say is, yeah, if you can be careful, if you have a choice to be careful, please remain careful for as long as you can. Have a lovely rest of the night. Thank you to Helen and all of the team for putting this together, and hopefully we'll see you again and do something else. Bye bye.